Claire is an Australian woman who arrives in Berlin, hoping to find some kind of life experience there that she couldn't find back home. She's self-aware enough to understand how cliched that is, but still decides to take the leap and explore her passion on another continent. As soon as Claire arrives, she tries to make friends with the people she meets, revealing how lonely and vulnerable she feels. She spends her first night in Berlin on a rooftop with a group of strangers. As morning comes, Claire takes photos of the city bathed in the golden light of dawn. The next day, Claire walks around the city, buys a few trinkets at a flea market, and continues taking pictures. She takes a break in a bookshop, flipping through a monograph about Gustav Klimt. When she leaves, Claire bumps into Andy. They share a pleasant moment together. He chats her up, and though she sees right through him, they end up spending most of the day together. Claire tells him that she's in Berlin to photograph GDR architecture and turn it into a book, but Andy doesn't understand her fascination with it. He tells her that he's an English teacher at a sports college. That evening, he drives her back to the hostel. Before she exits the car, Claire mentions she'll be heading to Dresden the next day. They almost kiss, but Andy stops and tells her goodbye. The next day, Claire seems reluctant to go to Dresden as she had planned. Instead, she looks for the bookshop where she first met Andy. To little surprise, she finds him there, flipping through a Klimt monograph. They begin talking. In the next scene, they are having a beer at a local bar and discussing her photography. Andy, a next-generation Berliner, doesn't seem too interested in the politics of East Germany. Claire can't tell that he might actually have some personal history connected to those times, which may explain his indifference. During their conversation, Andy notices a necklace Claire is wearing with a wedding band on it. Claire explains that her mother gave it to her, saying she could sell it and come home if she ever got into trouble. Later, Andy takes Claire to his apartment in an abandoned building. The place is falling apart, and she immediately notices how eerily quiet it is since no one else lives there. Inside, she observes that the doors don't open. As Claire stares out of the window, Andy approaches her. They begin to kiss, undress each other, and eventually sleep together in his bedroom. Afterward, Andy confesses that he wishes they could stay like this forever, still strangers to one another. Claire agrees, saying she wishes the same. The following day, Andy is shown at work, giving a lecture to high school students. He asks a student named Franca about the weekend's required reading. Despite her broken English, she answers in detail, showing she has read the material. Meanwhile, Claire wakes up in Andy's apartment. She dresses and prepares to leave, but discovers that the doors are locked, and there is no key in sight. While searching the apartment, she finds a locked room, some red nail polish in the bathroom, and a school photo of Andy. Frustrated at being trapped in the apartment all day, Claire remains unaware that her troubles are just beginning. Andy, after finishing work, runs into Peter and Jana, who invite him out for a drink. Andy declines, claiming he has plans to meet someone later, despite Peter's insistence. When Andy returns home, he finds Claire making tea. She confronts him about the missing key. Andy pretends he simply forgot to leave it out for her. That night, they go to a club, and Claire still believes he is a nice guy. The following morning, Andy leaves a key for Claire on the dresser before heading out. Claire wakes up, gets dressed, and starts exploring the apartment again. While eating breakfast, she notices another Klimt book in the kitchen. Inside it, she finds a photograph of a woman with the word "mine" inscribed on her back. Terrified, Claire checks her own back in a mirror and discovers the same inscription. Claire immediately tries the key Andy left for her, only to discover that it doesn't work. The windows won't open either. Desperate, she grabs her cell phone to charge it and call for help. Unfortunately, just as the phone powers on, she notices Andy has removed the SIM card. At that moment, Claire realizes she's not a guest in his apartment, but possibly a prisoner. Grabbing a chair, she attempts to break one of the windows, only to find that the glass is fortified. It becomes clear that Andy had anticipated this. Claire waits for him by the door, but when Andy returns, she pretends not to know what's going on. He ignores her pleas to open the door and only acknowledges her when he notices the mess near the window. Claire tries to calmly confront him, but he coldly warns her that if she attempts to break the windows again, he'll have to board them up. Andy begins making dinner as if everything is normal, while Claire tries to reason with him. He tells her that she's the one who chose to stay instead of going to Dresden. Claire retorts that it was just something she said after they slept together and that it didn't mean anything. Frustrated, Claire loses control and tries to physically fight him to open the door. However, Andy overpowers her, ominously reminding her that no one can hear her screams. In the following days, Andy continues living his life as though nothing has happened. He visits his father during a lecture and, bored by the discussion, looks at pictures he secretly took of Claire. When his father asks for his opinion about East Germany, Andy deflects. Later, over dinner, they argue about minor things until Andy mentions that he has met someone. His father asks what happened to the last woman, and Andy replies that she went back to Canada. He adds that the new one is Australian. His father questions why Andy always chooses tourist girls. Meanwhile, Claire is shown restrained on the bed, wrapped in plastic with just a towel beneath her. One night, after returning from a run, Andy places his keys in a locker containing Claire's important documents and belongings. Andy releases Claire from the restraints and shows her things he's bought for her. He also tells her that he informed his father about their relationship and texted her mother to let her know she's okay. Claire, standing in a soiled state, retorts that she's not okay and that her mother will figure out where she is since she used her card to pay for drinks. While showering, Claire discovers blonde hair in the drain, suggesting she's not Andy's first captive. Later, Andy restrains her again while taking photos of her. Claire pleads with him not to tie her up, reasoning that she can't leave anyway. Before leaving for work, Andy locks the keys in the locker and places it over the front door. As soon as he's gone, Claire searches the apartment for a weapon. She eventually finds a screwdriver hidden under the sofa. At work, Andy interacts with Peter and Jana. When Jana accidentally uses his mug, she apologizes and washes it for him. As she returns the mug, she briefly touches his hand, prompting an unnerved reaction. Andy obsessively washes his arm where she touched him. Back at the apartment, Claire works on a puzzle Andy bought for her. When he returns, she convinces him to sit and help her. Spotting the keys in his hand, Claire waits for her moment. When Andy leans forward to place a puzzle piece, she drives the screwdriver into his hand, pinning it to the table. Claire grabs the keys and escapes the apartment. Andy, bleeding, pulls out the screwdriver and chases her down the stairs. Just as Claire reaches the door, Andy catches up, slamming it shut on her hand and breaking her fingers. Claire collapses from the pain, and Andy drags her back inside. He leaves her on the floor as he tends to his own injury. Sometime later, Andy visits his father, who mentions that Andy's mother has called, asking about him. This is when we learn that Andy has mommy issues because his mother deflected and left him and his father behind. One night, Claire tells him that she misses her mom. Andy coldly responds that there's no point in missing something she can't have back, especially since she has him now. Andy takes more photos of her and brings them into the locked room, from which Claire hears strange noises. While he's at work, Claire attempts to pick the lock to the room but breaks the paper clip inside, knowing Andy will notice. Meanwhile, Andy is at work holding a gym class. He creepily watches one of his students, Franca, as she exercises, and she notices his unsettling gaze. Later, Andy closes the locker after taking out scissors, showing how much time has passed by the condition of his wounded hand. It's clear Claire has been imprisoned for a long time. Andy uses the scissors to cut Claire's nails and removes the bandage from her injured hand. He tells her he would never hurt her in the worst way she can imagine because they are a team. Moments later, he's washing her in the shower. Suddenly, Franca arrives at the apartment complex, entering because the Coleman left the door open. When Franca knocks, Andy grabs Claire and covers her mouth, threatening to kill Franca if she makes a sound. He steps out to talk to the girl, who seems to have a crush on him. Claire appears behind Andy, but he introduces her as his girlfriend and belittles Franca for her interest in him. The confused girl, who clearly noticed Andy's earlier behavior, leaves. Andy then tells Claire the girl's name, turns her around, and cuts her hair before taking another picture. When he realizes the locked room is jammed, Claire panics, fearing what he might do. Another night, Andy brings Claire a gift of lingerie and insists she model it for him. After trying to humor him briefly, she begins to resist, telling him he's abnormal when he accuses her of not acting normal. This enrages Andy, and he beats her. As Claire gets dressed, she finds nail clippings under the bed. Andy, still angry, spends the night at his father's house. During this time, the apartment experiences a power shortage. With winter setting in and snow falling, Claire struggles to stay warm. The next morning, Andy tries to wake his father, only to realize he has passed away. Andy cleans the house and searches for toenail clippers. When he finds them, he cuts his deceased father's toenails. Meanwhile, Claire paints her own nails, trying to maintain some semblance of control while enduring her isolation. Andy stays at his father's house for days, leaving Claire alone to wonder when, or if, he will return. During this time, she discovers more trinkets from the women who came before her. Eventually, Andy returns, and Claire is shocked to see him. She had started to believe he wouldn't come back. Andy informs her of his father's death, and Claire tries to comfort him. They sleep together. As Christmas and New Year approach, the two settle into a disturbing semblance of domesticity. Andy buys Claire books as a present, inscribing one with, "To me, you are perfect." Claire asks him how he chose her. He replies that he saw her pausing on the street and decided then. When Claire presses him about the girl before her, he lies, claiming there was no one else. Claire calls him out, saying she knows he's lying. When she asks if he still thinks about the previous girl, Andy dismisses the idea. Later, Andy gives Claire his father's dog as a present. One day, he takes her for a walk in the woods. Claire doesn't try to escape because Andy carries an axe. After some time, Andy prepares to kill her, but a boy's sudden yell interrupts them. The boy calls for help, saying his brother is hurt. Andy goes to check, while Claire tries to tell the boy to get help for her. Unfortunately, the boy doesn't understand English and gets angry when she grabs at him. The boy's mother appears, calling him back as Andy forces Claire to return to him. He puts her in the trunk of his car and drives away. Later, Andy, noticing Claire's bond with the dog, releases it, cruelly telling her it escaped. On New Year's Eve, Andy attends a party hosted by Peter and Jana. He becomes uncomfortable when he realizes how many people are there. Meanwhile, Claire finally manages to open the locked room. Inside, she finds Andy's photo albums, filled with pictures of her. She also realizes the strange noises she heard came from a reclining massage chair. She finds another album documenting Andy's childhood. At the end, she discovers photos of the woman he held captive before her. Fireworks explode outside as the new year begins. At the party, Andy has a strange exchange with Jana in the kitchen. When she accuses him of inappropriate behavior, she asks him to leave, frightened and offended. As Andy leaves the party, he spots another tourist girl outside and begins trying to chat her up. She laughs at Andy for making a small mistake in the wording of his question before her friend calls her over, saying their taxi has arrived. Andy drives home, scanning other women on the streets, likely in search of a new victim. Meanwhile, Claire notices someone in the apartment opposite hers. She manages to draw their attention, and the man quickly comes over to help. As he tries to open the door, Andy returns, catching him off guard and hitting him over the head. When the man collapses, Andy strikes him again, killing him. He forces Claire to help clean up the mess and wrap the body in plastic. Moments later, Andy takes the body outside, stuffs it into a garbage can, douses it with gasoline, and sets it on fire. Claire watches the flames from the apartment, horrified. In the next sequence, Andy boards up the apartment windows to prevent Claire from signaling anyone again. He then finishes cleaning up the space. Later, Andy reads a local newspaper and notices an article about Claire being reported missing. He tells her to pack her belongings, explaining that he needs to have the apartment fumigated. While preparing her things, Claire notices him grating Franca's paper. She burns her hand on purpose to distract him. When he rushes to the bathroom for burn cream, Claire hides his notebook under the sink. Later, Andy takes the grated papers and all of Claire's belongings out of the apartment. He also goes to the basement and shuts off the apartment's water supply. The next day, Andy returns the graded papers to his students, including Franca. As Franca opens hers, she finds a photo of Claire that Claire had slipped inside the notebook the night before. Realizing its significance, Franca asks to go to the bathroom, bringing the photo with her. Unfortunately, the picture slips from her notebook, and other students notice it. When Franca realizes the photo has been found, she grabs her bike and rushes to Andy's apartment. Back in the classroom, the photo gets passed around until it finally reaches Andy. Seeing it, he panics and speeds home. Arriving at the apartment complex, Andy notices Franca's bike outside and an open window. Rushing into the building, he sees the box containing Claire's documents has been forced open. He sprints upstairs to check if Claire is still inside the apartment. Andy finds the apartment empty, but hears faint noises upstairs. Following them, he enters the apartment on the next floor, ready to confront whoever is there. As he searches, Claire calls out to him, luring him deeper inside. When Andy moves into his special room, Claire locks him inside, trapping him. She retrieves her documents from the box and leaves the apartment. Claire finds Franca hiding in a cupboard in the other apartment. She helps the terrified girl out and comforts her for not realizing what was happening sooner. The final scene shows Claire driving through Berlin, the wind rushing against her skin. After nearly a year of captivity,